So we are back here on the Art Fort Lauderdale podcast, episode 7, live from Marcella Novotny's studio in Genoa, Italy, right before we trek off to the Venice Biennale. If you didn't know about Art Fort Lauderdale, we host the only art fair in the world, 4-day art fair, that takes place in luxury waterfront homes off the Las Olas Intercoastal Waterways in Fort Lauderdale. We make it only accessible via boat. It creates a different way to view and interact with art, seeing art in a setting where it ultimately lives, and it creates an opportunity for artists to showcase work in ways that they've never showcased before in a home. We're very, very fortunate to have Marcella having exhibited for the last 2 art fairs, and hopefully going on to number 3. Yes, and that relationship has helped create this opportunity for me to come visit you.
Thank you for coming.
My pleasure. Make this great trip. So for those that don't know you, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself at a high level?
Okay, well, hi, my name is Marcella. This is my studio, so welcome. We are in Genoa right now, and you can see here around some of my pieces. So that was my beginning. So I'm a visual artist, and when I started when I was a child. So I studied as an artist from college to university, and I was focused as an illustrator with the use of primary color, like black and white or blue, yellow and red. Then from those kind of illustration I start to evolve my art, and I move to color, and from that moment I discover the power of the nature. So I discovered that into the nature we can find all those amazing colors.
And it's colors that I don't find so much, I guess from American artists or really any artist. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your current style? How do you categorize yourself, and what?
Well, I'm actually not able to categorize myself because I like to evolve. So today we are here watching some colorful and weird strange faces. Tomorrow, I don't know, I'm moving to the sculptor way, and I'm trying to recycle some materials. So I'm trying to change, so I cannot give a definition.
It's been interesting to watch the change from when I first met you, actually at North Beach Village, when you were pouring live, which was very interesting. Shout out to Sophie for having you and initially connecting us, to watching your work evolve from the first year of Art Fort Lauderdale with the portraits to the second year where you brought the slime dog and actually made a sale before the fair opened to somebody on the installation team who saw it and said, "That's my dog, I love it." But it's very interesting to have watched your style evolve, and like as I mentioned, it's very interesting. The colors are very unique. I feel the colors pop a lot more. Can you speak a little bit about the materials and the process you use to be able to get these vibrant, beautiful colors?
Yeah, sure. So I start to add a little bit of color as those kind of pigment in all my mix. So I start to create my mix. When we met together and I start to pouring, I bring with me those natural pigments that they came directly from a canyon, a natural canyon from France, a small one, a little tiny one. But so those kind of colors help me to pop up. So with the mix, with those pigment, some acrylics, resin, and other solvent, I start to change the transparent, the vibe of my colors. So yes, I have to thank those pigments.
And where do you get the pigment?
Those are all naturals. Those are coming from France, from south of France. Is a canyon called the Locra Gialla, and it's a super nice place. I suggest you next
Yeah.
time. And yes.
How about the canvases and processes, but also from beginning works here
Yeah.
and then bringing them and finishing them in US?
Everything that came out from my studio is made by my hand. So I love to cut my canvas, find the wood, maybe if I can recycle, it's always better.
Mm-hmm.
And I create everything. My process starts from the scissor on the canvases to frame, build the wood, put the knees and everything, and then I start my process. So every time that I have to move, for me, it's not a problem, but I have to think about. So
right.
Everything has to put in a little box. I roll my canvases. I never took shampoo, but I always break my pigment because that's what I do.
A lot of logistics.
Yes, a lot. This is probably one of the most difficult part for me to work in your country.
But you found that it's worth for your career to be able to branch out because some of the situations you want to speak to, for those that maybe aren't aware of where Genoa is located, and then kind of the situation of what artists face being in Genoa.
Yeah, the art here is a little bit different from your point of view, from your vision. You are more contemporary, we are more based on the old architecture. We have a lot of art into our buildings, inside our churches. So we probably are more focused, and we love to keep our tradition on, and we want to show what we have, our beauty and our treasure. So the art here is a little bit different compared by Europe. We don't have so much pop art or crazy faces around. Here the galleries show more like landscape and our beauty. So this is probably the biggest contrast for me, because working in a place like this sometimes is not easy, because have to fight with our mentalities.
Correct.
Which is the first step that I have to do working in my town. That's the reason why I move often.
Right. But though you're natively from Genoa.
Yes, absolutely. And I love and I'm proud to be also from Genoa, because everything that came out from my hard work and from my studio is based from my experience, and probably is because I was born here. And I born living and watching all those traditional art, old architecture, and this kind of art. So everything inspired me and build the artist that I am today. So
contributed, and we got a chance to just meet one of your former art teachers.
Absolutely.
And view her studio. That was phenomenal. And for those that aren't familiar, I guess, with Genoa, it's very rich in history. The town that birthed Christopher Columbus.
Yes.
And very famous port, so very important strategically in the history of Italy. But it's interesting, as we are on this experience together, going from Genoa here, where I'm in love with the architecture and the history, going to Venice, where we're going to see a whole different side of things.
Absolutely. Venice is more contemporary right now compared by us. They host always Venice Biennale, which is one of the most important artistic events that we have. It's every 2 years. One year is for design and architecture, and another year is art Biennale. And it's a melting pot for everybody. So I'm so happy that you are here. So
it's amazing. This has been
ready to go.
An incredible trip, and hopefully we'll be able to extend this opportunity, hopefully to future local Fort Lauderdale artists. We're already planning potential exchange programs and residencies.
You're welcome anytime to work in my studio.
Yes, and be able to learn from a native Italian artist, and it's going to be a really beautiful thing. So we'll work on that after we finish enjoying our trip here. Where are some places that they either can find your work now, or tell us some of the places where you've shown your work throughout the world?
I started here, so this is the first place where I exhibit my works, and
in the municipal center, no?
yeah, and then I started to travel because I was searching the right place for me. I was searching maybe the right people that can understand my things. So my first trip was probably Dubai. So I was obsessed about the idea of this old world with this new crazy town. So I thought that can be the right place for me. Maybe they are really upcoming, so they are very new. So I can start. So that was probably my second art trip. So yes, my second experience. And from that moment, I started to travel the US. I fell in love. And I found a good place to show my art. I found good people that can appreciate, that can love my crazy face or my idea of art. And last year I tried the Asian market. I've been the first time in Singapore. It was a super cool experience. I really love Singapore. It was super nice. And but I really would love to work more here because
in Genoa.
Yes, this is my place. So I wish that in maybe a couple of years, because it took me time to understand probably more how to work here because of the mentality that we talked before than in other places more contemporary or more modern.
Correct. And it's been interesting to have you explain to me as we've gone throughout. You know, it is rich in history and it is a port city, and there are things that take precedent more so than the art. But hopefully, as the generational shifts happen, they can be more.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So now that you've participated in Art Fort Lauderdale the last 2 years, why don't you tell us some of your thoughts, having been well-traveled, Asia, Europe, United States. What are your thoughts on Art Fort Lauderdale?
I think that you guys had the beautiful idea to mix architecture, the beauty of your place, because you can enjoy channel, you can see amazing view, villas, luxury, and your lifestyle also, which is important also for people who are coming to visit something. And of course, you are living in an amazing place surrounded by art. So I think that the idea is great. The location is gorgeous, and it's an incredible opportunity for us to show our art, interact with people, talk with other artists, living a couple of days together in the same place where we can interchange our experience. That's probably one of the most important part for us. Also see what the other artists are doing. And
you've made not only friends, but you've made potentially gallery, museum opportunity.
Absolutely. You can get in contact with a lot of collectors. And of course, there are galleries, there are art curators. They came and you can talk about your art. So also it's very important for us to talk about us. It's perfect location.
It's great. It was amazing to see, even just from like Facebook, seeing the people that connected and with Kita Fernand, with Torsiete, and Moises, and beautiful. And it's really, that's one of the things that, and I go to a lot of art events, and I understand an art fair is transactional. It's supposed to be for you to make sales of the art.
Absolutely.
But the fact that not only were you able this year to make a sale, but that you're able to form relationships and get new opportunities. And I also didn't know that your collector came on his Von Dutch yacht, which is very neat. Where else can that happen?
There is no other place that one collector can park in his yacht, jump out of the yacht and buy some art.
Amazing.
I mean, there's no word to describe out of my mind.
Can't make it up. So I'm so grateful for that. So grateful that we connected. So grateful that I discovered you when we did at that point of your career, and that you're humble enough to join our fair as a young fair, emerging fair. And I'm glad, as we've discussed, that it all worked out, with the pricing and the accessibility into the fair. We discussed the prospect of you exhibiting in the Miami Art Week Fair, and the barrier to entry is so high, $2,500, $5,000, $10,000 or more.
Yeah.
Or you have to be represented by a gallery. The fact that, the last couple of years we've kept the entry so low, a few $100s, makes it more accessible because, of course, you also have travel expenses and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So we hope to continue to be able to do that. We plan to be able to continue to do that to make it accessible for independent artists. Where can they find you on social media?
They can find me on my website, www.mnlovesart.com, or my nickname on Instagram is mnlovesart, or they can find me on Facebook with my name, so Marcella Novotny.
Marcella Novotny. And I'm Evan Snow. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on the Art for Lauderdale Facebook, Instagram, website, or my partner Andrew Martineau. We're both open books. We're very excited to bring Art for Lauderdale back for its 4th annual installment. It always takes place the last week in January. We're also glad to roll into our 2nd year of Fort Lauderdale Art and Design Week, where we work to activate the entire city with art. And we're looking to grow on existing satellite art fairs, including the AIA, the American Institute of Architects Association local chapters had their architecture fair, and also the Sistrunk Affair taking place with the good folks in Sistrunk, Manuel George and Al Huggins. So we're really excited that we're building something very genuinely, very organically. It's not been an easy process, but I think we're finally starting to make some good traction and progress, and hopefully this trip can yield something beneficial. So we appreciate you tuning in. I can't always promise that they're going to be from exotic European locations like Genoa, Italy, but this was a real treat. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for coming.
Yes.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure show you my city and our beauty. So
yes, it was
thank
my
you
pleasure.
Guys. Thank you guys.
And you'll find her next year at Art for Lauderdale as well.
Yeah, see you.
Cheers.